Welcome, friend. Tonight we walk a quiet path together, a path without destination or hurry. You have arrived here seeking rest, and rest is what awaits you now. Let your body settle into the surface beneath you. Feel the weight of your limbs soften. Notice how the breath moves in and out, all on its own, without effort. You do not need to change it. You do not need to do anything at all. The day has passed. Whatever it held, whatever it asked of you, it is finished now. And here, in this gentle darkness, there is only the present moment. Only this breath, only this quietness that holds you. The world outside continues its turning, but you are released from it for now. Let the sounds around you become part of the stillness, a distant hum, the rustle of fabric, the soft pulse of your own heartbeat. These are not interruptions, they are companions to your rest. In ancient times, seekers would sit in temple halls lit by single candles. The flame would flicker, casting shadows that danced along wooden beams and paper walls. They would watch that flame for hours, not to understand it, but simply to be with it, to witness its movement without grasping, to allow their minds to become as still as the air around them. Tonight, you are such a seeker, not searching for answers, but opening to what is already here. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling, when we release the grip of expectation and control, when we allow ourselves to simply be held by the great silence that lives beneath all things. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting in a temple garden at dusk. The sky is deepening into shades of violet and indigo. Lanterns begin to glow softly along stone pathways. There is the scent of earth after rain, the coolness of evening air against your skin. You are alone, but not lonely. Solitude here feels like a gift, a return to something essential. In the distance, a bell sounds. Its tone is deep and clear, reverberating through the quiet. It does not demand anything. It simply announces the passing of time, the movement from one moment into the next. And with each resonance, something inside you loosens. A tension you did not know you were holding begins to dissolve. This is the nature of true peace. It does not arrive with force or fanfare. It unfolds gradually, like petals opening at dawn. It asks only that you stop resisting, that you soften your boundaries and allow yourself to merge with the stillness all around you. There is an old story, one told in monasteries across many centuries, about a blind calligrapher. He lived in a small village nestled between mountains and rivers. His name was Koji, though few called him by it. Most simply knew him as the brush master. Despite his blindness, Koji was renowned for the beauty of his calligraphy. Visitors came from distant provinces to watch him work, to witness the impossible grace with which his brush moved across paper. They would sit in silence as he prepared. His ink ground it slowly against the stone, adding water drop by drop. The sound alone was meditative, a soft rhythmic whisper that seemed to hold the room in stillness. When Koji began to write, his movements were unhurried and precise. His brush would hover for a moment above the blank page, as if listening to something only he could hear. Then it would descend, gliding across the surface with perfect confidence. Each stroke was deliberate, each character formed with absolute clarity. Those who watched could not comprehend it. How could someone who could not see create such flawless beauty? One day, a young scholar arrived at Koji's door. He was ambitious and proud, eager to learn the secret of this mysterious art. He bowed low and asked to become a student. Kochi welcomed him with quiet kindness. For weeks, the scholar observed. He watched Kochi prepare his materials, steady his breath, and enter into the stillness before each piece. But the scholar grew impatient. He wanted technique. He wanted instruction. Finally, he could no longer contain himself. "Master," he said, "how do you write so perfectly without seeing?" Kochi paused, his brush suspended in the air. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, with the gentlest of smiles, he replied, "I do not write without seeing. I see more clearly than you do." The scholar frowned, confused. "But how is that possible?" he asked. "You have no eyes." Kochi set down his brush and turned toward the young man's voice. "Seeing is not only done with the eyes," he said softly. "When I prepare my ink, I see the black becoming liquid, transforming from stone into fluid darkness. When I lift my brush, I see the paper waiting, vast and open as the sky. And when I write, I see not the character itself, but the space it lives within, the emptiness that gives it shape. You look at the page and see marks. I feel the breath of the paper, the silence between strokes. That is where the beauty lives, not in what is written, but in what is left untouched." The scholar sat back, humbled and uncertain. Kochi returned to his work without another word. The story does not end with a dramatic revelation. There is no sudden enlightenment for the scholar, no transformation in a single moment. But over time, something shifted within him. He stopped trying to see as Kochi saw. Instead, he began to notice the spaces in his own life, the pauses between thoughts, the quiet moments he had always rushed past. And slowly, without effort, he learned what the master had been teaching all along. True vision does not come from grasping or straining. It arises when we stop trying to control what we see, when we allow perception to be soft, receptive, and whole. Let this story settle into you now. Feel the weight of its truth without needing to analyze it. Kochi's wisdom was not unique to calligraphy. It speaks to the way we move through life. How often do we strain to see clearly, believing that more effort will bring more understanding? How often do we fill every silence with noise, every stillness with action, afraid that emptiness means absence? But emptiness is not absence. It is the ground from which all things arise. It is the canvas before the painting, the breath before the word. Without it, there can be no form, no beauty, no meaning. Consider your own life for a moment. Where do you hold on too tightly? What are you trying to control that cannot be controlled? Perhaps it is the outcome of a situation. Perhaps it is the opinion another person holds of you. Perhaps it is simply the need to feel productive, to justify your existence through constant doing. These grips are exhausting. They wear grooves into the mind, creating patterns of tension that become so familiar we mistake them for who we are. But you are not your tension. You are not the tight grip of worry or the relentless push toward more. You are the space beneath all of that, the awareness that watches thoughts arise and fade, the stillness that remains when everything else falls away. Breathe now, gently. Let the air move through you like wind through an open field. No obstacles, no resistance, just flow. With each exhale, imagine releasing one small grip. You do not need to name it. You do not need to understand it. Simply let it go, like a leaf falling from a branch in autumn. It has served its purpose. It is time to return to the earth. And with each inhale, invite spaciousness, softness, the quiet trust that you are enough, exactly as you are. that nothing more is required of you in this moment, that rest is not laziness, but wisdom. The body knows this. It has always known. Peace is not found in the future, once all tasks are complete. It is not waiting at the end of some distant road. It is here now, woven into the very fabric of this breath, this heartbeat, this gentle darkness that surrounds you. You need only stop searching and allow yourself to arrive. There is another story, one that unfolds in a different village, at a different time. In this village stood a small temple, weathered by centuries of wind and rain. The roof tiles were cracked, the wooden beams softened with age, but the temple was still used. Villagers came to light incense and offer prayers, and living within the temple was a cat. This cat was unremarkable in appearance. Her fur was mottled grey and white. Her movements were slow and deliberate. But the monks who tended the temple loved her deeply. She had been born in the garden behind the main hall, and she had never left. Every morning she would sit on the stone steps, washing her face with careful precision. Every evening she would curl up near the altar, purring softly as the last light faded. The monks considered her part of the temple itself, as essential as the statues or the incense bowls. One spring, the head monk fell ill. His health declined rapidly, and it became clear he would not recover. The younger monks gathered around him, hearts heavy with grief. "What will we do when you are gone?" they asked. "Who will lead us?" The old monk smiled weakly. "Do not worry about leadership," he whispered. "The temple will continue as it always has. Take care of the cat. She will show you the way." The monks were puzzled, but they nodded in respect. Within days, the head monk passed quietly in his sleep. The temple fell into a period of mourning, but life, as it does, continued. The cat still sat on the steps each morning. She still curled by the altar each night. The monks went about their duties, lighting candles, sweeping floors, preparing offerings. But slowly a tension began to grow among them. Each one believed he should become the new head monk. Each had reasons why he was the most deserving. Arguments arose. Voices were raised in the meditation hall, disrupting the peace they were meant to protect. The harmony of the temple fractured, and during this time the cat watched. She did not take sides. She did not offer judgment. She simply moved through her days with the same quiet constancy she had always shown. One evening, as the monks gathered for chanting, they noticed the cat was not in her usual place by the altar. They looked around and found her sitting in the centre of the hall, directly on the meditation cushion that had belonged to the head monk. Her eyes were half closed. Her breathing was slow and steady. She did not move. At first, the monks were annoyed. "That is not your place," one of them said, reaching to move her, but another monk stopped him. "Wait," he said softly. "Look at her." They all turned to observe the cat more closely. She was utterly still. Her body was relaxed, her tail wrapped neatly around her paws. There was no striving in her, no desire to be anywhere other than where she was. In that moment, each monk felt something shift inside him. They saw their own grasping reflected back to them. Their arguments, their need to be recognized, their fear of being overlooked, and they saw how unnecessary it all was. The temple did not need a leader who demanded respect or wielded authority. It needed presence. It needed humility. It needed the kind of peace the cat embodied without effort. From that day forward, the monks let go of their jung competition. They stopped trying to prove themselves. They return to the simple work of caring for the temple, for each other, and yes, for the cat. And the temple thrived. Not because of any single leader, but because each monk learned to lead from within, to act with integrity, not for recognition, but because it was the right thing to do. The cat continued to sit where she pleased, unbothered by human concerns, a silent teacher in fur and whiskers. This story asks something of us. It invites us to examine our own need for validation. How much of what we do is driven by the desire to be seen, to be praised, to be proven right? These desires are not inherently wrong. They are human, but they are also sources of endless suffering. Because validation from others is unreliable. It shifts with moods and circumstances. It can be given one moment and withdrawn the next. And when we anchor our worth to it, we become like boats tossed by waves, never finding solid ground. But there is another way, the way of the cat, the way of being so grounded in your own nature that external approval becomes irrelevant. This does not mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop performing for them. You stop twisting yourself into shapes that are not true to who you are. You allow yourself to simply be, and you trust that your being is enough. This is not arrogance, it is the opposite. It is a profound humility that recognizes you are not the center of the universe, and that is precisely what sets you free. When you stop trying to control how others see you, you reclaim an enormous amount of energy that can be redirected toward presence, toward compassion, toward the quiet joy of living fully in each moment. Let that energy flow through you now. Feel how much lighter you become when you release the burden of proving yourself. Notice the softness that enters your chest, your shoulders, your jaw. You are allowed to rest here, in the simple truth of your existence. No masks, no performance, just the gentle rhythm of breath and heartbeat. Just the quiet knowledge that you are part of something much larger than yourself, and that your participation does not need to be loud to matter. Breathe deeply. Let the air fill your lungs completely, then release it slowly, as if you are exhaling the weight of the entire world. Again, inhale the cool night, exhale the day's burdens, inhale spaciousness, exhale control. You are doing exactly what you need to do. You are resting. And rest is a radical act in a world that glorifies constant motion. By allowing yourself this time, this stillness, you are affirming that your worth is not tied to productivity, that your value is inherent, that you deserve peace not because you have earned it, but because you are alive. This truth is ancient. It has been spoken in 1,000 languages, in temples and forests, and quiet rooms lit by candlelight. It is not a new idea, but it is one we forget again and again, so we return to it. We whisper it to ourselves in the dark. We let it soak into our bones until it becomes part of us. If these teachings bring you peace, you are welcome to subscribe and return whenever you wish to rest. Let this space be a refuge you can visit as often as you need. There is no judgment here, no expectation, only an open door and a quiet voice reminding you of what you already know deep down. That peace is your birthright, that stillness is always available, that you are never alone on this path. Now, let us continue together. Let us walk a little further into the night, where the stories grow softer and the silence deeper. There is a third tale, one that takes place in a monastery perched high in the mountains. Snow falls gently here for much of the year. The monks who live in this place are few in number, dedicated to lives of simplicity and contemplation. They rise before dawn, sit in meditation as the sky lightens, and spend their days in quiet work. One of these monks was named Daigen. He had been at the monastery for 30 years. His face was lined with age, his hair white as the snow that dusted the rooftops, but his eyes were clear, bright, alive with a kindness that drew others to him. Daigen was the monastery's gardener. He tended a small plot behind the main hall where herbs and vegetables grew during the brief summer months. He loved this work, loved the feel of soil between his fingers, the smell of green things growing, the patience required to nurture life from seed to harvest. But one winter, a young monk arrived at the monastery. His name was Kaito. He was restless and ambitious. He had come seeking enlightenment, expecting to find it through rigorous practice and discipline. He threw himself into meditation with fierce intensity. He studied texts late into the night. He fasted and prayed with relentless determination. But the peace he sought eluded him. The harder he grasped, the further it seemed to slip away. Kaito watched the other monks with growing frustration. They seemed content, even joyful, but he could not understand why. One afternoon he found Daigen in the garden, clearing away the last remnants of dead plants before the ground froze completely. Kaito stood at the edge of the plot, watching the old monk work. Finally, he spoke. "Master Daigen," he said, "how did you find enlightenment?" Daigen paused, leaning on his rake. His breath formed small clouds in the cold air. He looked at Kaito with gentle curiosity. "What makes you think I have found it?" he asked. Kaito gestured around them. "You seem so peaceful, so certain. There must be something you know that I do not." Daigen smiled, but there was sadness in it. "I know very little," he said softly, "but I have learned to stop demanding that life be other than it is." Kaito frowned. "That sounds like giving up, like resignation." Daigen shook his head. "No," he said, "resignation is bitter. It carries the taste of defeat. Acceptance is different. It is sweet. It is the moment you realize that fighting the river only exhausts you. But if you let it carry you, you might discover it was always moving in the direction you needed to go." Kaito was not satisfied. "But how do you accept things that are painful?" he pressed. "Things that are unjust or wrong?" Daigen set down his rake and sat on a nearby stone, inviting Kaito to join him. For a long moment they sat in silence. Then Daigen spoke. "When I was young, I lost someone I loved very much, my wife. She died suddenly without warning. I was devastated, angry. I could not understand why this had happened. I came to this monastery because I wanted to escape the pain. I thought if I meditated hard enough, prayed hard enough, I could transcend it. But pain does not work that way. The more I tried to push it away, the more it consumed me. One day I was sitting in the garden. It was spring. The plum blossoms were blooming. I looked at them and felt nothing, just numbness. And then something shifted. I realized I was not just numb to the blossoms, I was numb to everything. In trying to avoid pain, I had shut myself off from all feeling, from beauty, from connection, from life itself. So I made a choice. I allowed myself to grieve, fully, completely. I cried until there were no tears left, and when the storm passed, I found that the pain had changed. It was still there, but it no longer controlled me. It had become part of the landscape of my heart, like a scar, tender but healed. Kaito listened, his eyes downcast. "And the anger," he asked quietly. Did it go away? Dagon shook his head. No, he said, but it transformed. I realized I was not angry at the universe. I was angry at my own helplessness, at the fact that I could not protect the people I loved from suffering, from death. Once I saw that, the anger softened. It became something closer to sorrow, and sorrow, I learned, is just love with nowhere to go. So I pour it into this garden, into the care I take with each plant, into the kindness I try to offer others. The love I could not give to my wife, I give to the world. It is not the same, but it is enough. Kaito sat with this for a long time. The cold seeped through his robes, but he did not move. Finally, he asked, "What should I do, Master Dagon?" Dagon stood slowly, brushing dirt from his hands. "Stop trying so hard," he said simply. "Enlightenment is not a trophy to be won. It is the natural state that emerges when you stop grasping, when you allow yourself to be human, flawed, uncertain, when you stop pretending you have control and start living with open hands." Kaito wanted to argue, to insist there must be more to it, but Dagon had already returned to his work. The conversation was over. That winter, Kaito struggled. He continued his intense practice, but Dagon's words haunted him. Slowly, he began to notice the ways he was tightening around his own life, the way he criticized himself for every mistake, the way he compared his progress to others, the way he made enlightenment into a destination he could never reach. And one morning, sitting in meditation as dawn broke over the mountains, something let go. It was not dramatic. There was no flash of light or sudden realization. He simply stopped fighting, stopped demanding, stopped pushing, and in that cessation he felt it, peace, not as an achievement, but as a recognition. It had been there all along. He had just been too busy chasing it to notice. When spring came, Kaito joined Dagon in the garden. He did not ask for teachings. He simply worked alongside the old monk, planting seeds and pulling weeds. And in that simple work, surrounded by earth and sky, he found what he had been seeking. Not because he had earned it, but because he had finally allowed himself to receive it. This story unfolds slowly, like the seasons themselves. It does not rush toward resolution. It trusts that transformation happens in its own time. Kaito's journey is our journey. The belief that we must strive harder, do more, become something other than what we are. But the truth is simpler. We are already whole. We are already enough. The peace we seek is not hiding in some distant future. It is woven into the present moment, into the breath moving through your body right now, into the weight of your head resting on the pillow, into the darkness that holds you. All you must do is stop striving, stop resisting, stop telling yourself stories about who you should be, and instead be who you are, right here, right now, with all your imperfections and uncertainties, with all your scars and tender places. This is the practice, not perfection, but presence, not transcendence, but acceptance. Let your body sink a little deeper into rest now. Feel the surface beneath you fully supporting your weight. You do not have to hold yourself up. You can let go. Every muscle, every thought, every worry. Let it all drain away, like water flowing downhill, seeking its natural level. Your shoulders can soften. Your jaw can unclench. The space between your eyebrows can smooth. There is nothing to figure out, nothing to achieve. You are simply here, breathing, being. And that is a profound act. In Zen tradition there is a phrase, chop wood, carry water. It refers to the idea that enlightenment is not separate from everyday life. It is found in the ordinary tasks, in the simple repetition of necessary work. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The tasks remain the same, but the one doing them has changed. They move through the world with a different quality of presence, not because they have transcended the mundane, but because they have fully inhabited it. They have stopped dividing life into sacred and profane, spiritual and material. They have recognized that it is all sacred: the wood, the water, the hands that hold them, the breath that sustains the body that does the work. Everything is an expression of the same fundamental aliveness. When you approach life this way, even the smallest acts become infused with meaning. Washing a dish is not a chore to be rushed through. It is an opportunity to feel warm water, to see light reflecting off soap bubbles, to hear the gentle clink of ceramic. It is a moment of full presence, and in that presence, something quiets. The mind stops its endless commentary. The heart opens just a little wider. This does not mean you must love every task. It does not mean there will never be boredom or frustration. But it means those feelings do not have to dominate your experience. They become part of the landscape, like clouds passing through the sky. You notice them, you acknowledge them, and you return your attention to the simple fact of being alive, to the miracle of sensation and awareness, to the gift of this one, irreplaceable moment. Let your awareness rest now on your breath, not to control it, but simply to notice it. The cool air entering your nostrils, the slight rise of your chest, the pause at the top of the inhale, the warmth of the exhale, the gentle fall, the pause at the bottom. This rhythm has been with you since birth. It will be with you until your final moment. It is the most constant companion you will ever have, and it asks nothing of you except occasional acknowledgement, just this breath, just this now, nothing more. In the spaces between breaths, there is silence, a stillness that is always present, even when life feels chaotic and loud. That stillness is not empty. It is full of potential, full of peace, full of the same awareness that watches your thoughts arise and fade, that feels your emotions swell and recede. That awareness is what you truly are, not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the body that ages and changes, but the witnessing presence that remains constant through it all. You cannot lose this presence. You can forget it, become so absorbed in the content of experience that you lose touch with the awareness itself. But it never leaves. It is the screen on which the movie of your life plays. It is the space in which all phenomena occur. And recognizing it, even for a moment, brings profound relief. Because if you are the awareness, then you are not trapped by the thoughts. You are not defined by the emotions. You are vast enough to hold it all, and spacious enough to let it all go. Rest in that vastness now. Imagine your awareness expanding beyond the boundaries of your body, beyond the room you are in, beyond the building, the street, the city, spreading outward like ripples on a still pond, touching the mountains and the oceans, the forests and the deserts, all of it held within the same field of awareness. You are not separate from any of it. The divisions are conceptual, useful for navigating daily life, but not ultimately true. At the deepest level, you are connected to everything, made of the same elements, animated by the same energy, part of the same unfolding. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a scientific fact. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. The water you drink has cycled through countless forms: rain, river, ocean, cloud, plant, animal, you. You are a temporary configuration of matter and energy, a unique expression of the universe knowing itself. And when your form dissolves, as all forms eventually do, the matter and energy will return to the whole. Nothing is lost. Everything is transformed. This understanding can bring comfort. It can ease the fear of death. Because if you are not separate, then there is no real ending. Only change. Only the endless dance of creation and dissolution, the in-breath and the out-breath, the rising and the falling, the appearing and the disappearing. You are part of that dance. You always have been. You always will be, even when this particular body, this particular mind, is no more. The awareness that looks through your eyes will continue in other forms, other expressions. Some traditions call this reincarnation. Others speak of it as energy returning to source. The words differ, but the essence is the same. Nothing is separate. Nothing is permanent. Everything is connected. Everything is changing. And in that change, there is no tragedy. Only the natural rhythm of existence, like waves on the ocean. Each one rises, crests, and falls back into the water. But the ocean remains. You are both the wave and the ocean, the form and the formless, the individual and the infinite. Both are true, both are real, and holding both truths simultaneously is the essence of wisdom. Let your body be the wave right now. Feel its particular shape, its weight and warmth, its vulnerability and aliveness, and at the same time feel the ocean beneath it, the vast, silent presence that supports and sustains you, that has no beginning and no end, that is both intimately you and utterly beyond you. Rest in that paradox. You do not need to resolve it. You do not need to understand it fully. Just let it hold you. Let it cradle you in its mystery. In Zen, there is a concept called beginner's mind. It refers to an attitude of openness and curiosity, free from preconceptions. When you approach life with beginner's mind, everything becomes fresh. Even familiar experiences reveal new dimensions. You are not jaded, not bored, not assuming you already know what something is before you truly encounter it. This is the mind of a child, wide-eyed and receptive. But it is also the mind of a master, because the master knows that no matter how much they have learned, there is always more to discover. They remain humble, teachable, alive to the infinite richness of each moment. You can cultivate this quality. It begins with questioning your assumptions. When you think you know something, pause. Ask yourself, do I really know this? Or am I seeing through the lens of past experience? Am I meeting this moment fresh? Or am I projecting the past onto it? Most of the time, we are projecting. We see what we expect to see. We hear what we expect to hear. And in doing so, we miss the actual reality unfolding before us. But when you soften the grip of expectation, when you allow yourself to not know, the world opens up. A conversation becomes more than an exchange of familiar ideas. A walk becomes a journey of discovery. Even your own breath, which you have taken millions of times, can feel like a revelation. Try it now. Notice the next breath as if you have never breathed before. Feel the air entering your body. Cool, light, invisible. How does it move? Where does it go? What changes in the instant of contact? You do not need to answer these questions intellectually. Just observe, be curious, and in that curiosity something shifts. You become more present, more engaged, less caught in the mental loops of past and future. This is the practice, not something you do once and master, but something you return to again and again, each time it is new, each time you are new, because you are not a fixed thing, you are a process, a river, not a stone, and the river is always flowing, always changing, always arriving somewhere it has never been before. Allow yourself to flow now, to let go of any sense of who you think you are supposed to be, any role you are playing, any identity you are defending. None of it is solid, none of it is permanent. You are free to be undefined, unfinished, unresolved, and in that freedom there is a lightness, a playfulness, a sense that life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, to be savoured, to be entered into fully, with all your senses awake and all your heart open. As the night deepens, so does the silence within you. The thoughts that were so loud when you first lay down have grown quieter, slower, more spacious. They still arise, as thoughts always do, but they no longer demand your full attention. They drift by like clouds, casting brief shadows before moving on, and you remain, the watcher, the witness, the still point around which everything revolves. This is your true nature, not the turbulence, but the calm, not the noise, but the silence, not the doing, but the being. In Tibetan Buddhism, there is a practice called sky gazing. Practitioners sit and stare at the open sky for extended periods. They do not focus on any particular object. They do not try to meditate in the conventional sense. They simply rest their gaze in the vastness, and gradually the mind begins to mirror the sky. Thoughts still arise, but they are seen as insubstantial, like birds flying through the expanse. They do not disturb the sky. They do not leave a trace. They come and go, and the sky remains unchanged. Your awareness is like that sky, vast, open, unbounded, and every thought, every sensation, every emotion is a bird flying through. Some are beautiful, some are harsh, some linger, some vanish quickly, but none of them define the sky. None of them limit its expanse. You can practice this right now. Imagine your awareness as a boundless sky, and any thought that arises, simply notice it. See it as a passing phenomenon. You do not need to engage with it. You do not need to follow it. Just let it move through, and return your attention to the vastness, to the openness that has no edges, no centre, no fixed location. This is a place of profound rest, because nothing can disturb it, nothing can harm it. It is prior to all experience. It is the ground from which experience arises, and recognizing it, even briefly, brings a deep sense of safety, of homecoming. You are not lost. You have never been lost. You are always here, always now, always held. The teachers of old understood this. They spent lifetimes pointing toward it, not with complex philosophies, but with simple gestures. A monk asks, "What is the meaning of the Buddha's teaching?" The master holds up a single finger. Another asks, "What is enlightenment?" The master says, "Have you eaten your rice?" "Yes," the student replies. "Then go wash your bowl," the master says. These exchanges are not meant to confuse. They are meant to cut through the conceptual mind, to bring the student back to the immediacy of life. The rice, the bowl, the finger. These are not symbols of enlightenment. They are enlightenment itself. When you are fully present with the rice, there is no separation, no self and other, no subject and object, just the act of eating, the texture, the taste, the nourishment. When you are fully present with the ball, washing becomes a meditation. The water, the soap, the smooth surface of ceramic. It is not a means to an end, it is the end itself. And this is true of every moment, every action, every breath. They are not leading you somewhere, they are the destination. You are already there. You have always been there. The only question is whether you are awake to it. Let yourself awaken now, not with effort, but with release. Let the layers of tension and distraction fall away. Like clothes removed at the end of a long day, you do not need them anymore. Underneath you are naked, vulnerable, beautifully, impossibly alive. There is a final teaching worth sharing as the night grows late. It is a simple phrase, repeated in meditation halls and monasteries across the world. This too shall pass. It is said in times of great joy and in times of great sorrow. It is a reminder of impermanence, of the fundamental truth that nothing lasts. When we are suffering, this teaching brings comfort. The pain will not last forever. This difficult moment will eventually give way to something else. And when we are joyful, this teaching brings humility. The happiness we feel is also fleeting. We cannot cling to it. We must enjoy it fully while it is here, knowing it will change. This is not pessimism, it is realism, and it is liberating. Because if nothing lasts, then nothing is worth clinging to. Not the good, not the bad, not the self we think we are. Everything is in flux, everything is flowing, and we can flow with it, or we can resist. Resistance creates suffering, flow creates peace. You have been practicing this flow all night. With each breath you have let go a little more. With each story you have softened a little deeper. You are not the same person who began this journey. You have changed, not dramatically, not in ways you could easily name, but subtly, gently, in the way water changes stone, not with force, but with constancy. And that change will continue long after this night ends, long after the words fade and the silence deepens. The seeds planted here will grow. They will influence the way you move through tomorrow, the way you respond to frustration, the way you hold joy, the way you meet yourself in quiet moments. You do not need to remember everything you have heard. You do not need to hold on to the teachings. They are already part of you, integrated into the fabric of your awareness. And when you need them, they will surface, not as words, but as intuition, as a quiet knowing that guides you back to presence, back to breath, back to the simple truth that you are enough, that you are loved, that you belong to this world and it belongs to you. As the final moments of this journey approach, let your awareness become even softer, even more diffuse. You are not trying to stay awake. You are not trying to remember. You are simply allowing yourself to dissolve into the night, into the stillness, into the great rest that holds all beings. The candle that lit this path is burning low now. Its flame flickers, casting long shadows that stretch and fade. There is no need to relight it. The darkness is not something to fear. It is the womb from which all light is born. It is the silence from which all sound arises. It is the emptiness that makes fullness possible. Rest in that darkness now. Let it envelop you completely. Feel its coolness, its depth, its infinite tenderness. You are safe here. You have always been safe. The world continues its turning, quietly, without you needing to do a thing. The stars wheel overhead. The rivers flow to the sea. The breath moves in and out, all on its own. You are part of this great rhythm, this endless dance of creation and dissolution. And in this moment, You are asked to do nothing but receive, to open your hands and your heart and let yourself be held. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself be at peace. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to accomplish. You have done enough. You are enough. And as you drift now deeper and deeper into rest, carry this knowing with you, this gentle certainty that you are never alone, that peace is always available, that the path back to stillness is as close as your next breath. The teachings will remain, the stories will echo softly in your dreams, and when you wake, you will carry them forward, not as burdens, but as gifts, not as rules, but as invitations, to live with open hands, to move through the world with compassion, to meet each moment with beginner's mind, to remember that you are both the wave and the ocean, both the seeker and the sought, both the question and the answer. All of this is true, all of this is you. And now, as the night reaches its deepest hour, as the silence becomes absolute, let yourself go. Let the last threads of awareness dissolve. Let the mind become as still as a mountain lake at dawn, reflecting nothing, holding everything. You do not need to be conscious anymore. You do not need to witness. You can simply be, formless, boundless, free. And in that freedom there is the purest rest, the deepest peace, the homecoming you have always longed for. It is here. It has always been here, waiting for you to stop searching and simply arrive. And as the candle burns low, as the shadows deepen, as the world grows, soft and distant, know that you are loved, know that you are held, know that all is well. The night is here, the breath moves on its own, and you can let go, completely, finally, into the great silence that has no beginning and no end, into the peace that passes understanding, into the rest that restores all things. Sleep now, gentle soul, sleep deeply, sleep well, and when you wake, may you remember this truth. That peace is not something you create, it is what you are. When everything else falls away, when all the doing and striving and grasping cease, what remains is peace, what remains is love, what remains is the simple, eternal fact of your being, and that is enough. That has always been enough. That will always be enough. Rest now. The journey is complete. The path has led you home, and home is here, in the quiet, in the dark, in the infinite tenderness of this present moment. Nothing more is required. Nothing more is possible. Just this. Just now. Just peace. Let the breath grow shallow. Let the thoughts dissolve into silence. Let the body become weightless, as if floating on still water. You are not holding yourself up. You are being held by the earth beneath you, by the air around you, by the great mystery that animates all things. You can trust it. You can surrender to it. You can let it carry you into sleep, into dreams, into the formless realm where all distinctions fade, where there is no self and other, no past and future, no inside and outside, only the vast undifferentiated presence that is the source and ground of all that is. You are merging with that presence now, becoming one with it, not losing yourself, but finding yourself, your true self, the self that has no boundaries, no limitations, no fear, the self that is pure awareness, pure being, pure love. And as you merge, as the boundaries dissolve, there is a sense of coming home, of remembering something you have always known, but somehow forgot, that you are not separate. You have never been separate. The loneliness you sometimes feel is an illusion, born of identification with the small self, the ego, the separate sense of me. But that is not who you are. That is just a story. a useful fiction for navigating the world, but not the truth. The truth is you are everything. You are the stars and the earth, the mountains and the rivers, the breath and the heartbeat, the silence and the sound. All of it is you. All of it is this. One seamless whole, one infinite expression of being. And resting in that truth, all questions cease, all seeking ends. Because you have found what you were looking for, not outside yourself, not in some distant future, but here, now, in the depths of your own awareness, in the stillness at the core of your being. This is the final teaching, the ultimate wisdom, that you are already home. You have always been home, and you will never leave, because home is not a place, it is what you are. It is the awareness that watches thoughts, the presence that holds experience, the silence that underlies all sound. It is the unborn and undying, the unchanging amidst all change, and it is here, now, always. You need only recognize it. You need only relax into it. You need only stop pretending to be something other than what you are. Stop trying to become. Stop striving to achieve. Stop believing you are lacking. You are not lacking. You are complete, whole, perfect as you are. This very moment, this very breath, this very awareness. It is all there is. It is all there needs to be. And as this truth settles into you, as it becomes not just an idea but a felt sense, something releases. The last vestiges of tension melt away. The last whispers of doubt fade into silence. And what remains is peace, unshakable, unquestionable, undeniable, the peace that was never lost, that could never be lost, because it is what you are, not something you have or don't have, but your very nature, your essence, your home. And now, resting in that home, there is nothing left to do, nowhere left to go. You have arrived. The journey is over, and in its place is simply being, simple, effortless, natural, like a river flowing to the sea, like a leaf falling in autumn, like the breath moving through the body. No resistance, no control, just the natural unfolding of what is. And you are that unfolding. You are the river and the flowing, the leaf and the falling, the breath and the moving. You are the verb, not the noun, the process, not the thing, the dance, not the dancer. And the dance is beautiful, even when it is slow, even when it is simple, even when it seems like nothing at all, because beauty is not in the complexity, it is in the presence, in the full attention brought to this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, and you are giving it now. You are here, fully, completely, and that is grace, that is love, that is the highest offering you can make, not to some distant God, but to life itself, to the great mystery that brought you into being, that sustains you now, that will receive you back when your time comes. You are not separate from it. You are its expression, its eyes, its hands, its voice, and through you it knows itself. Through you it loves itself. Through you it rests. So rest now, beloved. Rest deeply. Rest fully. Rest without reservation or doubt. You are doing exactly what you came here to do. You are being exactly who you came here to be. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more is possible. Just this breath, just this darkness, just this infinite tender peace. And as you sink into it, as you let it fill you completely, know that you are not alone. Millions have walked this path before you. Millions will walk it after. And right now, in this moment, thousands are walking it with you, lying in their own darkness, following their own breath, finding their own way home. You are part of that great company, that lineage of seekers and finders, of those who have remembered what they always were, and in remembering have been set free. You are free now, free from the burden of becoming, free from the weight of expectation, free from the need to be anything other than what you are. And what you are is beautiful. What you are is enough. What you are is love itself, dressed in human form, walking the earth for a brief time, experiencing joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, light and dark, and all of it is sacred, all of it is holy, all of it is the divine playing with itself, forgetting and remembering, losing and finding, dying and being born. You are that play, that game, that cosmic dance, and you can take it seriously, or you can laugh, you can suffer, or you can be free. The choice is always yours, not once and for all, but moment by moment, breath by breath. And in this breath, you are choosing peace. In this moment, you are choosing rest. In this darkness, you are choosing to let go. And that choice is honoured. That choice is seen. That choice is held with infinite tenderness by the same awareness that holds all things. You are not forgotten. You have never been forgotten. You are seen. You are known. You are loved, exactly as you are, with all your flaws and fears, with all your doubts and desires, with all your humanness and divinity. All of it is welcome. All of it is held. All of it is home. So rest now, dear one. Rest without fear. Rest without effort. Rest as if you are being rocked in the arms of the Great Mother, gentle, safe, infinitely loved. The night is deep. The silence is complete. And in that silence there is only peace, only love, only the eternal now that has no beginning and no end. You are that now. You are that peace. You are that love. And as you dissolve into it, as you become indistinguishable from it, there is a sense of ultimate rightness, of things being exactly as they should be, of perfection not as an ideal, but as a fact. This moment is perfect. This breath is perfect. This peace is perfect. And you are perfect. Not in the sense of flawless, but in the sense of complete, whole, lacking nothing. You came into this world perfect. You will leave it perfect. And in between, you walk a path of forgetting and remembering, of falling asleep and waking up, of losing yourself and finding yourself, again and again. And that is the beauty of it. That is the gift, that you get to discover who you are, not once, but over and over, each time fresh, each time new, each time a revelation. And tonight is one of those revelations. Tonight you are remembering, not with your mind, but with your body, with your breath, with the deepest part of yourself that has always known that peace is your birthright, that stillness is your nature, that love is your essence. And as you remember, you are transformed, not into something new, but into what you have always been. You are coming home to yourself, and home is here, in this breath, in this body, in this moment, nowhere else, nothing more. Just this, just now, just peace. Let it fill you. Let it overflow. Let it spill out into your dreams, into your tomorrow, into every moment that follows this one. Let it be the ground you walk on, the air you breathe, the truth you return to, again and again. And when you forget, as you will, be gentle with yourself. Forgetting is part of the dance. It is what makes remembering so sweet, so profound, so utterly, impossibly precious. You are precious. Your life is precious. This moment is precious. And it is passing, even now, even as these words dissolve into silence, even as your awareness fades into sleep. Everything is passing. Everything is changing. And that is not sad. That is not tragic. That is the nature of things. the beauty of things, the gift. Because if nothing lasted, we would never cherish anything. We would never truly be present. We would never know the ache of love, the joy of connection, the bittersweet beauty of a life fully lived. So let this moment pass. Let it fade into memory. Let it become part of the great river of experience that flows through you. And trust that when you need it, it will return. Not as memory, but as presence, as the living truth that you are, that you have always been, that you will always be. No matter what changes, no matter what passes away, you remain. Awareness remains. Peace remains. And in that remaining, there is everything. There is the whole universe, the whole mystery, the whole infinite unending now. You are that now. You are that mystery. You are that universe. And you are resting, finally, completely, utterly. Let the last thoughts drift away like smoke on the wind. Let the last tensions melt like snow in spring. Let the last sense of separation dissolve like salt in the ocean. You are not apart from anything. You are a part of everything, and everything is at peace. The stars in their courses, the earth in its orbit, the breath in your body, all moving, all flowing, all resting in the great dance of being, and you are dancing too, even in stillness, even in sleep. You are part of the movement, part of the rhythm, part of the infinite unfolding, and it is good, it is right, it is exactly as it should be. Nothing is missing, nothing is out of place, everything is exactly where it needs to be, including you, especially you, right here, right now, in this body, in this breath, in this moment. This is where you belong, this is your place, your home, your truth, and you can rest in it, you can trust it, you can let it hold you, completely, fully, without reservation. You are safe here. You have always been safe, and you always will be, because safety is not the absence of danger, it is the presence of trust, the deep, abiding trust that no matter what happens, you are held, you are loved, you are never alone. And that trust is not something you create, it is something you discover, something you uncover, something that was always there, waiting for you to notice, and you are noticing now, in the quietness, in the stillness, in the deep, soft darkness. You are noticing that you are held, that you are loved, that you are home. And as that noticing deepens, as it settles into your bones, into your cells, into the very fabric of your being, there is a shift, a softening, a letting go so complete that it feels like dissolution, like becoming water, like becoming air, like becoming nothing and everything at once. This is the final release, the ultimate surrender, not to death but to life, not to unconsciousness but to consciousness so vast it includes everything. And you are that consciousness, you are that vastness, you are the awareness in which all of this is happening, the breath, the darkness, the peace, the sleep, all of it is arising in you, as you, through you, and you are not disturbed by it, not troubled, not affected. You are like the sky watching clouds, like the ocean holding waves, like space containing stars, vast, unbound, free, and in that freedom there is the deepest rest, the most profound peace, the most complete homecoming. You have arrived, not somewhere new, but here, where you have always been, where you will always be, in the eternal now, the timeless present, the infinite this. And here there is nothing to fear, nothing to grasp, nothing to become. You are already everything. You are already whole. You are already home. So rest now, beloved. Rest as you have never rested before. Rest in the certainty that you are held, that you are loved, that you are safe. Rest in the knowledge that this peace will be here when you wake, that you can return to it any time you need, that it is never more than a breath away. Rest in the truth that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your story. You are the awareness that holds all of these, the presence that witnesses all of these, the love that embraces all of these, and that awareness, that presence, that love is indestructible. It cannot be harmed, it cannot be lost, it cannot be taken from you. It is what you are, in your deepest essence, in your truest nature, in your most fundamental being. You are love, you are peace, you are home. And now, as the final words fade into silence, as the last breath dissolves into sleep, know this: you are not ending, you are not disappearing, you are simply returning to the source, to the stillness, to the infinite ocean of being from which you arose and to which you always return. And in that returning, there is no loss, only gain, not of something new, but of something remembered, something reclaimed, something that was never truly lost. You are reclaiming yourself now, your wholeness, your peace, your truth, and that reclamation is complete. You are complete, you are whole, you are at peace. Nothing more is needed, nothing more is possible. Just this breath, just this silence, just this infinite, tender, loving presence that has always been here, that will always be here, that is here now, holding you, loving you, welcoming you home. The night is still, the world is quiet, and in that quietness there is everything. There is all the love that has ever been, all the peace that ever was, all the truth that will ever be, and it is yours. It has always been yours. It will always be yours. You need only open your hands and receive it. Open your heart and let it in. Open your awareness and recognize it for what it is, for what you are. Love, peace, home, now and forever, always and already, here and now, this, just this, only this, everything, nothing, all. The breath continues, the night deepens, and you rest, finally, completely, utterly, at peace.